Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel SS Analysis. First of all, I would like to tell you that if you are watching this video first time, subscribe my channel to see my more upcoming videos on analysis of different commodities and equity indices. And second important thing is to watch this video till its end to understand this solely to take your decision. Your well like will motivate me to be regular and working more for you. So let us start the day to analyze the movements of S&P 500 futures in different time frames. So friends, here you can see a weekly chart of S&P 500 futures. Here you can see that how the S&P 500 futures traded in a very narrow range during the last week, which resulted in this shooting star. Here I find that this could be the first signal of an advance of a downward move, because here I find that the data announced during the last week was evident enough for a delay in economic recovery, where I find that Delta virus has increased the fear among the investors. This looks evident enough for continuity of downward pressure in S&P 500 futures during the upcoming week. And here I find that if the S&P 500 futures start the upcoming week with a gap down opening below the levels of 4386, we'll see this downward trend to continue, where the first target for S&P 500 futures could be at 4311. Here I find that if the S&P 500 futures are not able to hold above the levels of 4311 on the first two trading sessions of the upcoming week, we will see this downward trend to continue during the upcoming weeks. Friends, here I find that first 2 weeks of August could be very crucial for S&P 500 futures, because during the upcoming 2 weeks, this final direction move of S&P 500 futures would be clear, because the growing cases of COVID-19 all over the world could hamper the global supply chain, which could continue to keep downward pressure on global equity markets. Here I find that we could see further moves of S&P 500 futures during the upcoming weeks. So here I find that during the upcoming weeks we could find the S&P 500 futures could behave like this. During the upcoming week, the S&P 500 futures could continue to remain under pressure and could test the levels of 4349. And if the S&P 500 futures are not able to hold above the levels of 4302 during the upcoming week, we'll see this downward trend to continue, whereas the first support will be at the levels of 4273 and the next support can be seen at the levels of 4232, where I find that the S&P 500 futures could see going exhaustion during the second week of August. So here I find that if the S&P 500 futures find a sustainable move below the levels of 4252, we'll see this downward trend to continue. Undoubtedly, some bouncing moves can be there, but overall trend will be continuity of selling spree on every upward rally. We'll see this level to be the next resistance for S&P 500 futures during the upcoming week, whereas I find that the S&P 500 futures could continue to slide downward up to the last week of September, up to the levels of 3810, from where we could see some support for S&P 500 futures, and a bounce back can be seen from here once again up to the levels of 4235. But once again this level could provide stiff resistance to S&P 500 futures, whereas we could see a sharp slide in the S&P 500 futures which could continue to be steeper, where the S&P 500 futures could test the levels of 2607 before the beginning of 2022. So friends, here I find that shortly we will see a more serious impact of growing COVID-19 cases all over the world, which could result in a sharp downward move up to the end of this year, when the S&P 500 futures even test the levels of 2547 before the end of this year. So friends, now let us check this move with the help of Ichimoku Cloud. So here you can see that how the S&P 500 futures could find an immediate support at the 9 days moving average, which is currently at the levels of 4297, and I find that a breakdown below this level during the upcoming week will push the S&P 500 futures to test new lows. So here it is very important for S&P 500 futures to hold the levels of 4297 during the upcoming week, otherwise we could see a sharp exhaustion below this level where the S&P 500 futures could continue to slide up to the next support. The 26 days moving average could provide some support to S&P 500 futures, but here I find that if the S&P 500 futures find a bounce back from the 26 days moving average, once again a move could be there up to the levels of 4340, but a sharp sell-off could continue from here, which could push the S&P 500 futures back up to the upper end of Ichimoku cloud, which will provide the next support, which is currently at the levels of 3776, from where the S&P 500 futures could once again find a bouncing move up to the levels of 4227, but the overall trend could remain bearish and we could find sharp sell-offs during the upcoming weeks where the S&P 500 futures even could break the lower end of Ichimoku cloud during the month of December, where I find that the S&P 500 futures could break the levels of 3692 and a breakdown below the lower end of Ichimoku cloud could continue to push the S&P 500 futures even below the major support at 3588, and here I find that a breakdown below this major support will result in a nosedive move in S&P 500 futures where the S&P 500 futures could even test the levels of 2598 during the month of January 2022. So this fall may continue during the second half of this year. So friends, now let's check this move in a daily time frame. So here in a daily time frame, here you can see that how the S&P 500 futures have been facing stiff resistance here at the levels of 4430, where the S&P 500 futures have finally tested this high on July 29, but on July 30th, the S&P 500 futures could hardly sustain the levels of 4404. So friends, here I find that the S&P 500 futures could start the upcoming week with a gap down opening where a sharp downward move could push the S&P 500 futures up to the levels of 4287, where we could find a bounce back well up to the levels of 4364. Here I find that this major resistance can be tested below this resistance. The level of 4368 could provide stiff resistance to S&P 500 futures, where the S&P 500 futures could attempt to breach this resistance, but I am sure that finally the S&P 500 futures could continue to slide before the end of this week. So friends, here in a daily time frame, I find that the S&P 500 futures could close the upcoming week at the levels of 4251, where the S&P 500 futures could find some support at the upper end of Ichimoku cloud in a daily time frame, but the overall trend could remain bearish up to the end of this month when the S&P 500 futures could test the levels of 4072. So thank you friends, thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, don't forget to share this video with your more and more friends. Thank you.